All right, do you guys want to talk about the memo? It's pretty big. I don't know if everyone understands everything, and it can also have some implications as in call to action right now before we get them. Okay, so in the command I have three things, okay? So the memo first, all right? Then I have Nebulites to bonus stat exchange will be mentioned in the memo. And then we have the Flames wiki as the backup for the stats. Here we go. This is going to be big, and I'm going to need your full and undivided attention, okay? This will be not important to some of you, interesting to some of you, really important to some of you, and of monumental difference to your lives to like a few of you. This last group of people are the people who probably play the game a little bit too much, but you exist, so I will address you guys as well. Hi everyone, as most of you know, during our MapleStory Fest presentation in April, I think most of us watched that, right? We announced that Global MapleStory will be introducing bonus stats in our June 20th game update. So immediately I already want to touch on this. So they're not presenting this as flames, because what flames do is they add bonus stats. And just as our gears already have, bonus stat means whatever is in the plus in the brackets, okay? Those are bonus stats. Just to make that perfectly clear. So it's not something that's completely aside from everything. They will have a different color, and you will see which bonus stats are from the flame and which are not. But they will be treated just as every other bonus stat. So in non-reboot from scrolling and enhancing, and in reboot from just enhancing, and maybe from transposing as well. As part of this introduction, we have decided to begin phasing out Nebulites from the game. I'm not sure why they use phasing out, because they're literally going to remove them all immediately in one fell swoop, but we'll let that slide for now. In order to maintain the game balance and focus our efforts on the bonus stats system. So on June 20th, we'll see a lot of changes to your equipment with Nebulites and Nebulites in your inventory, so we wanted to make sure we were aware of what changes, what happens. Below is a rundown of how the changes will occur. Okay, so Nebulites on equipment that bonus stats can be applied to. So we already talked about this before, but there are items that can get quote-unquote bonus stats. There are items that we can use flames on, and there are items that we cannot use flames on. So to draw this back up here, basically you cannot use flames on everything in the right column here, except for the cape. You can use it on the cape, but everything else here in the right column cannot have flames on them. You cannot have them on shoulders, and you cannot have them on rings. And I'm pretty sure also not on the codex, but this is like a special item in itself. So no rings, no shoulder, and nothing in this column right here except for the cape. Everything else, well, of course, like no roid, because you can't do anything with this, and the codex is special. Everything else can get flames. So they're making that distinction first on. So this includes pendants, basics, at the top, basically everything that we just discussed, okay? So the Nebulites will be removed from the equipment and replaced with bonus stats. So instead of the Nebulite, you'll have stats in brackets based on the type and the rank of the Nebulite. So that will be the second link, which this has... I'm pretty impressed by the work they put into this, honestly. Whether you think this is fair or not is a different topic, but they actually made a replacement for every single Nebulite that is in the game. Which, this is a lot of work. They put in the work, okay? If you see the 1, this does not mean +1 defense, +1 jump, and +1 strength. This does not mean +3 defense, +3 jump, and 3 speed. We'll get to that in a little bit. It just means rank 2, rank 2, rank 3, rank 4. And you also see the higher the level of the Nebulite, and the better the Nebulite, the more stats. So we start off with only, we start off with 3 very basic ones, and then we end up with 4. 4 additions will be like all stat, speed, max MP, max HP, which is probably because of hyper body. Yeah. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Nebulites that provide skills will also be removed. So think about decent hyper body, decent sharp eyes, decent haste. So Nebulites that provide skills will also be removed and replaced with bonus stats. In addition, 140 node stone fragments will be provided per Nebulite. So this is because when you're 5th job, these all of the skills that exist in Nebulites, in decent skill Nebulites, can also be bought with 140 node shards as a skill node for the V matrix, and then used in there to have the replacement of the skill. So that's why they did this. I'm not sure how they will give us this if you're on a character that isn't 5th job yet, but I guess they'll find a way to fix that. Please understand that some of the stats and skills obtainable with Nebulites could not be transferred exactly into bonus stats, obviously. Our intent was to match the stats as closely as possible while keeping the overall balance of equipment in mind. We also tried our best to make each piece of equipment adjusted with bonus stats feel as powerful as they had before the update, and then to see the details, you can check this list. So let's finish the memo first. So, and then the Nebulite on items with the bonus stats cannot be applied to. So those are the ones I mentioned, rings, and then basically everything in the right column except for the cape and the shoulders. So all of these cannot get bonus stats. They showed shields here separate from secondary weapons, but shields I think are considered secondary weapons, or sub weapons. Nebulites will be removed from the equipment and replaced with rebirth flames, as though the Nebulites were stored in the player's inventory. See below. So every Nebulite that you still have in your inventory will be replaced by the following things. Also, your boxes will be replaced. For each Nebulite and Nebulite box the character had in their inventory, the following compensation will be provided. So this is a little bit less work. So you can see, if you just have boxes, you get one level 110 rebirth flame, which in reboot is pretty much useless. I know that in non-reboot you can, if we get flame crafting in non-reboot, which I'm pretty sure we're going to get, you'll be able to disassemble this and then use the materials that you get from that to craft the powerful rebirth flame and eternal rebirth flames. So from what you've been seeing in KMS, I'm pretty sure that the eternal rebirth flame is going to be what's called there the rainbow flame, and the powerful rebirth flame is I think what's called there the red flame. Pretty sure those are what they mean by these names. So just the D-Neb is also a rebirth flame level 110, so if you have any boxes, open it, because you're guaranteed the same, and you have an off chance of getting something better, right? So the only B Nebulite that's an exception is the normal status reduction, and that one's going to give us 4 flames, and then every other B Nebulite is just going to give us 1 flame. C-Nebs are all 1 red flame, so these are the rainbow flames, I'm pretty sure. And then you have 3% all stat will give you 10 flames, 4% all stat will give you 15 flames, and then the 20% boss damage will be 10, and 25% boss damage will be 15, and then all the other A-Nebs will be 3. So if you really want, if you have multiple A-Nebs and you want to gamble it, you want to sacrifice 3 possible rebirth flames and the off chance of it downgrading into a B for the off chance of getting a 10 or a 15 value. You could do that if you want to. I'm just giving you guys the options. Like if you want to YOLO it, you could go for it. We'll get to the difference between the powerful rebirth flames and the eternal rebirth flames in a little bit. You're basically only going to be using them on your weapon. What you could elect to do is use the all stat 3% neb on your on an item now, so that instead of just getting the 10 eternal rebirth flames, instead you get the stats. So we can check what the so you see here Nebulite L3. What you will get is all stats number 3, jump 6, and defense 6. So this doesn't look amazing. All stats number 3 I know is 3% all stat, and jump and defense number 6 I would have to check here. So we check the last link for that one. We could check all stat. So you see all stat is wait, where is it? Oh, here. All stat is just 1 for level 1, 2 for level 2, 3 for level 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the 2 types of flames we have, the powerful rebirth flame and the eternal rebirth flame. The powerful one will give you anywhere from level 4 to 6, and the eternal will give you anywhere 5 to 7. So this is going to be the minimal for the red one, and it's going to be below the minimal for the eternal one. But if you use the flames, you get random rolls. So there could be a trade-off, right? Now you're guaranteed the lowest result, but there is a possibility that you don't roll that line at all if you use flames yourself. So you kind of have to gauge the risk for yourself. Like, do I want to just get the flames and then risk not getting anything from those flames? Or do I want to get the guaranteed stats and just keep it there? Because there's an extra thing that we have to think about. The reason that I'm mentioning all of this is because of the last line here. So lastly, with the announcement that we'll be adding bonus stats to the game, we also know that plenty of you are curious about additional ways to gain enhancement to your equipment. Although we aren't able to confirm anything concrete yet, we wanted to let you know that we are actively discussing raising the limit of Star Force enhancements to 25 stars. Now what this means for a lot of people is that you will be switching pretty much every item you have, most likely. Since they don't know exactly how it will be implemented concretely, there are still a lot of question marks. But if this happens, a lot will change. A lot of shit is going to change. So this means that if you go super hard on your flames now, maybe this winter, or maybe earlier, or maybe a little bit later, they could announce 25 stars and you'll have to remake everything again. So how hard you go now in flames has to be proportionate to how much time you spend on this game and how much money you earn on this game. If you don't make money very quickly, I would highly advise against spending everything you have on flames on the day they drop, because there's going to be a good chance that you won't have that much money by the winter, and then all of your gear might become kind of obsolete, and that would be a really hard hit. So I would advise everyone with caution, because this is going to change a whole lot. It looks just like, oh, instead of 15 we just go up to 25, big whoop, right? I just get more stars. The reason that it's so important is because the amount of stats you gain from stars above 15 is insane. So insane that it changes up how effective the bonus stats of sets are compared to how many more stars you can get from things. I think you have to realize, for example, is most of the event rings we have are really good in stats, but they have no Star Force whatsoever. With the Star Force limit going up to 25, this would mean that a reinforced Galax ring, and I'm talking about reboot here, a reinforced Galax ring would be stronger than any event ring we have because of how many more stats you get from the stars. So this completely changes the dynamic of which sets you use together and which items you use. And on top of that, higher level gear, as you can see here, ooh, that rhymed. Higher level gear will, for some classes more than for some other, have a bigger impact on how many extra stats you get, and how many extra, so for a Demon Avenger like me, for example, how much extra HP you get in the different lines. Like if you use a really good flame and you get a level 7 line, but only on a level 60 item, that's 1260 HP. But if you get it on an Umbra, you get 4200 HP. Blaze it. Like that's really a lot of difference. So the level of the gear matters more, and how many stars you can get the item up to will matter way more. So I will advise caution with this announcement, and therefore really so if you only have like a few Nebulites in your inventory, this is really easy. Like there's nothing much you can do. Your shit is going to get replaced and you're going to have to deal with it, and it's not really going to affect you a lot. If you have a whole inventory full of Nebulites, you're going to have to make some decisions. Like, do I keep the Nebulites in my inventory, or do I use them on my gear and get the guaranteed stats from it, which are not great, but they're guaranteed, and you can kind of stick with the item as they are then? Or do you want them all to be replaced by the Eternal Rebirth Flames and get a chance of something good? So this kind of rolls us into the way that flames kind of work. Powerful Rebirth Flames and Eternal Rebirth Flames, right? So these are the same as here. So Powerful Rebirth Flames are the red ones, and then Eternal are the highest level ones, yeah. And then all the other ones are just called regular Rebirth Flames, and those are the level ones, which are just bad. But again, they're used in non-reboot to be deconstructed and used as materials to create these two as a Master Craftsman or Meister Craftsman, provided that we get that. That's still not 100%. We're going to go either backwards a little bit or stay equivalent to what we have. So we're going to take a little bit of a hit initially. So That's because we can use the flames to make the gear better and use it as getting stronger in total. But what I'm talking about now is I don't think you want to be using too many flames and investing too much money, because it's a matter of when 25 stars comes out. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And then when it comes out, you might have a completely different plan for your whole account. And since flames is something similar to cubing, where you can just literally dump billions into it just to get that one specific combination of lines that you want, it's going to be very dangerous to kind of throw all your money into it now, and then maybe 6 months from now you have to redo everything. And I'm always looking at the long term. So if this is something that you don't really care about, you just want to get the best that you can get now, and you'll see whatever happens in 6 months, that's perfectly fine. But I just want to warn you that this could happen, and I don't want you guys to be disappointed in like 4 or 5 months when they announce 25 stars coming in the winter. It could also only be next year, like I don't fucking know. But it's just a thing that you have to keep in the back of your mind and decide for yourself if you think it's important enough to think about or not. You get bonus stats on lines that exist on the item, or that the item can have. So you can type !flames in the chat to get this link. Basically, you can see which item can have which lines, and the amount of lines that are going to be affected is at least 2, can be 3, and can be 4. So ultimately you want 4, of course, and then out of those 4, you would want the stats to be added that give you the best benefit. So for most people, it's going to be your main stat, it's going to be percentage main stat, it's going to be main stat and secondary stat, and then it's going to be percentage damage. No, percentage. Is it going to be percentage weapon attack, or is it going to be flat amount of weapon attack? Hang on. Pretty sure it's flat amount of weapon attack. Control F, weapon. Oh, do they say it as attack power? Attack power. God, I hate that. Attack power increase. No, that's for weapons. Armors. Here we go. Like it's only a little bit. But depending on what level the item is, you see that the number that it's going to be, and then it depends on what level the stat is of the flame. So a flame could say roll 1 stat for +4, 1 for +5, 1 for +6, and another for +4, for example. Or it could roll everything for +6, but that's a really low chance. And then it can roll any number of stats on your item that exist. It can roll any of these things. You could get plus intellect, plus dex, and then plus strength and dex, and plus strength and intellect on something that you're using as a marksman, for example. And then it could all be level 6, but it would be useless because you don't need it. So you can see in this way how many combinations there are that could be completely useless for you. Can't get percentage HP, feels bad, man. Feels really bad as a DA, yep. So you can see how many combinations of flames there are, how difficult it's going to be to get a really good roll, and because of that, because of how difficult it is, how you might consider, because your gear is going to be temporary anyway, and you might replace it anyway, how it might be better in your personal situation, if you have a Nebulite in your inventory, maybe to decide to just use it on an item anyway, so you can get the guaranteed replacement stats, rather than to just get random flames that might end up giving you nothing. You have to choose for yourself, do I want to get the gamble, or do I want to go for the security? And that's something everyone is going to have to do for themselves. But I just want to make sure that you guys know that you have an option right now. And you have the coming 11 days, or 10 days, I guess, to kind of think of that, and to make individual decisions on which Nebulites you have. For most of you, that's only going to be like 5 decisions you have to make. But I urge you guys to think about it and to just consider it. So that brings us back to the memo. So for Luna, I can go over this pretty quickly. For all equipment that had bonus stats previously in EMS and now also has Nebulites, these items will be treated like the items with Nebulites that cannot gain bonus stats on them, and they're removed and compensated with Rebirth Flames. So this is nice, I guess, for people in Luna who have that. For all equipment that had bonus stats previously in EMS but do not currently have Nebulites, these items will retain their bonus stats, so nothing will change for those. For all equipment that had bonus stats previously in EMS and had a scissor count restriction, that scissor count restriction will be removed. Didn't even know that was a thing, but nice for you guys. For equipment that has no bonus stats and only Nebulites, these items will be treated the same way as all the characters as described above. Additional information. So this is pretty important. Compensation flames will be delivered through the reward system. Now, I'm not 100% sure what they mean by that, but I think they mean this one, right? Because it says reward. I'm pretty sure they mean there'll be reward, reward, reward. It says reward a lot. It's probably this system, so they will probably be in this list, which means you can have a maximum of an amount of things in there. So hopefully they will consider that. Compensation flames will be tradable and permanent. So this is this is nice of them. I mean, it's necessary, but it's nice. They don't have to. They probably should, but they don't have to. So that's nice. Effective immediately, Nebulite diffusers and premium fusion ticket exchange coupons will be sold for 1 meso. So that's nice, I guess. If you want to re-roll, you can do it for free. All players who purchase Nebulite diffusers and premium fusion tickets exchange coupons for NX since March 1st, 2018 will be refunded with Memo points for the full amount of their purchase. So this is a nice compensation for people who have recently spent money in non-reboot, because yes, Nebulite diffusers and fusion ticket exchange coupons actually cost NX in non-reboot. We can just buy them for Meso, but this is another thing that we have over non-reboot. Zelplex, your name will actually not show up because in the left bar the background is black, so we can actually not see your name, but good try. Unused Marvel machine codes for Nebulites will compensated. Damn, and there's always one that sneaks in there. Will be compensated the same way as if they were Nebulites in your inventory. The status of the codes will be set to redeemed on June 20th, so you will be unable to redeem the codes. Compensation will be given on maintenance after June 20th game update. June 9th, we will remove all methods to obtain alien coins, Nebulites, Nebulite boxes, and other Nebulite related items from the game. So this is this pertains to just the Nebulite boxes as a drop, because as you guys remember, during the Maple Fest they also talked about bringing Nebulite boxes as a drop to the Arcane River area, and I think this is also a reason why they decided to make this move, because with this move they don't have to consider even adding the Nebulite boxes as a drop, because the whole system is just being removed, so they don't have to do that as well. I think that was also part of the decision to kind of balance the game overall. So, and this is specifically is talking about NLC, of course, where you can have the alien coins and Nebulites and Nebulite boxes be as a reward for quests. So if you wish to obtain compensation flames for Nebulites, we encourage you to use up all the alien coins at the NPC shop. After June 20th, the NPC will still be available and sell you items for your unused alien coins, and that will be power elixirs, medals of honor, spell traces, and double experience and drop coupons. We know to have additional questions and concerns about these changes, so please let us know in the forums. Maple forums, lol. And we'll update you all as soon as you can address them. We also know that not everyone knows what bonus stats are, and those stats will do additional questions about our implementation of them. Well, if I did a decent job here, then you guys should have no specific questions about that just yet, or you just need to look at everything in this page more. So that's !flames, or it's the third link if you type !memo in the chat. Hey, you should check out Scardor's Scream, very informative and nice. Thank you, Steph. We plan to include details in our upcoming patch notes or a separate dedicated guide to bonus stats. Dude, I already got it covered. That's okay. You don't have to. For now, we want to focus this announcement on the changes you need to know will happen as a result of removing Nebulites from the game. And I think we already read, but I think we can read it again. Lastly, for the announcement, we'll begin at bonus stats to the game. We also know that plenty of you are curious about additional ways to get enhancement in your equipment, although we aren't able to confirm anything concrete yet. I want to let you all know that we're actively discussing raising the limit of Star Force enhancement to 25 stars. Additional details for this are being reviewed. So, yeah. Again, this might look like a small thing. It's just 10 extra stars, but this changes the game. Literally changes the game. Game changer. 100%. I have about 43 garbage stat A nebs that I have saved up from the last 2 hood events. Do you think I should fuse them in order to get some good nebs? Yeah, so that's the decision that you're going to have to make. So if you don't fuse them at all, then you get 3 flames for each, right? And only if you manage to get one of these 4 is it going to be a net positive. Otherwise, it's going to be a net negative. And there's even a chance that you go down to a B neb, and then you lose even 2. You lose 5. So if you fuse and you don't get any of these 4, you will lose 3 rebirth flames. If you lose and you go down to B, you will lose 5 rebirth flames. And if you get this one, you will gain 9. If you get this one, you will gain 4, 9, and 4. So I think it's pretty risky to fuse them. You could just try a few and see if you get lucky and then maybe stop later. If you have 40, man, depends on if you're a gambling man or not. If you're not a gambler, then just save them. Because if you have 43, then you have like guaranteed 126 Eternal Rebirth Flames. So that's pretty good. I would say that's pretty good. What I'm doing with my nebs. So I'm going to have to look at it neb by neb to see if I think that the HP recovery nebs, because those were ones that you could get directly from Maplewood Watch, so you get a lot of them, and throw it in on my gear that would have probably been temporary gear now anyway, and then gotten like a guaranteed plus 5 HP. Because if you look here, HP increase, stat level 5. So depending on what item you use them on, it would be something like 2,100, 2,250, 2,400 extra HP per thing. So that's not horrible. Because if you have it on like 10 items, that's 22k HP. And then that gets multiplied by everything. So I'm going to have to see. Between the ones I have, I think I will save most of them. Maybe I'll use a few, but I'm probably going to save most of them. This is a chance to succeed, chance to fail and maintain, fail and decrease, and a chance to destroy. So you see what we have up until here is... hang on, what is this? Fail, maintain... Fail, decrease. Oh yeah, so on 10, so on 5, on 10, on 15, and then on 20, you can't go down. You can only like fail or boom. But you see the percentage chance of booming doesn't go up an insane amount if you go past 15 stars. So 0.7, 1.4, 2.1, 2.8, and then past 20, it goes up to 7%. So it becomes significant here for sure. But we can look at this for a second, okay. And then Maple C is different. We don't care about Maple C. And then it's different for superior items and for weapons. So this is for weapons. Stat boost on... So this is why going over 15 stars, excuse me, is going to be really good. So this is just the chance of success, right? This is pretty comprehensive, pretty easy to understand all of it. But the problem is, what are the stats that you're going to gain, right? And that's like laid out in this. And then this for weapons, it's extra. So these are like the basic stars, and it's all well and good. 15, yeah. But then 15, it starts getting like a lot. Like if the equipment level is 200, 1 extra star is 15 all stat, 15 primary stat, 15 secondary stat, 12 weapon attack, 12 magic attack, not given to non-magics. And then on a weapon, it's like an extra weapon attack, and if it's 200, it gets even more. And then it's like +1, +2 extra. If it's high level, it's 15, 15, 13. It goes up to 15, 15, 14 with +2. But, you know, you could see how this can get out of hand, like, really quickly. 22 stars. Obviously, like, beyond this is just, like, fairy tale land. But it's like an extra 25 attack per star with +11, +12 per weapons. Like, these amounts of attack are insane. But of course you're never going to get to this point right here. But like the 13 extra here, because this is like 3% chance of happening. No one's ever gonna like legitimately gonna make that, but it's pretty nice to theory craft. Okay, so this is like theoretical best as well. Oh, so you can protect up to 17, I think that's why 17 is mentioned here. So the green is going to be 22 star. So that's going to be like the highest before it's absolutely ridiculous to even blow it up. So the green 22 star is basically equivalent now of 12 star tyrants in reboot. Not so much as how much it's going to cost, maybe a little bit, but more as how impossible it would be to go beyond that, kind of. So like endgame basically. And 21 is mentioned because of the boom chance, right? Yeah, because if you get to 22, then you have a pretty big boom chance, whereas 21 it's still pretty low, but it's already pretty risky. So the reason that this is kind of under debate, we don't know if Transpose Sweetwater will be able to go past 15 stars. We don't know if that's going to be possible. If it is, then that's going to be like pretty good to just get that all the way, and that's going to be the best thing. Pretty universally, right? What is it? 2,923 total stat. 1959 total attack, like by quite a wide margin. That's the best. The problem is we don't know if this is going to be possible. So like the arcane build is going to be possible, we know that, and that's going to be like the thing to go to. A standard build has still some tyrant in it, because you can't get enough arcane. So the whole premise of this is as well, we'll be able to get a lot stronger because of flames once we have all our flames in place. That will allow us to kill Hard Lucid, and then because Hard Lucid drops the arcane items, then it'll be the next logical move will be to move over to arcane items. This is like theory crafting shit, but this does have the actual number. What numbers of stars lock in that star number, i.e. once you get 10 you can go lower? Yeah, so every 5 locks. 5, 10, 15, 20. How am I supposed to get 3 set superior and reinforced Golux set at the same time? You can wear 2 pendants. So you could wear the... I think the best way to do it is to get the superior earring, the superior belt, and the superior ring. And then the reinforced, 2 reinforced pendants, and then the reinforced ring. And to be able to wear a second pendant, you have to buy the pendant expansion slot in either the Hennessy's, Liefer, or Edelstein general store. It'll be an expansion for 30 days, and you can extend that duration for as long as you want by buying extra coupons. Oh yeah, I want the confirmation for you guys. Transfer hammer. That's a solid point. Hang on. Oh god. Wait, for the ring? Hang on. For the ring, you could get a Meister ring. Oh god. You could get like a... You could get a... You would have to get a 23-star Meister ring and then transfer hammer it. Oh no. Oh no. Wait, I could actually do that. I could make 22. I could make 22 rings. Wait, but how would you do it for the pendants though? Superior Golux ring. Oh no, wait, hang on. They have the Superior Golux ring only at 21. Never mind. And the reinforced Golux at 17? Wait, why? Why stop at 17? And then 17 Kana treasure ring? What level is Kana treasure? That's 150, right? Oh, but because reinforced is 140? But how would you do it for pendants? Just like reinforced pendants all the time? Oh god, no, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's doable. Holy shit, this is some min-maxing. Chaos Pink Bean Belt, Golden Clover, reinforced belt, stock up to transfer hammer. Yeah. Ugh, that's gonna be really difficult though. If you're really gonna min-max so hard. Already getting to 22 is similar to 12-star Tyrant. It's similar in cost per item, I think, yeah. 22 is easier than Tyrants. Maybe less boom and less mezzo, but I think it's more difficult to, like, it's gotta be more difficult than 12-star cape. It's gotta be less difficult than 12-star shoe or belt. Because shoes and belt take a lot of time to get the coins for. And the capes are abundant. Average booms for 12-star Tyrant is around 10, if not more. No, average booms for 12-star Tyrant is not 10, I think. Isn't it like 6 to 8? Oh no, 9 to 8. No, you're right. It's almost 10, yeah. I mean, I got my 12-star belt in just one boom, you know. The first one boomed from 9 to 10, and the second one just went straight up to 12. 8 bills spent, by the way. Feels good, man. It seems silly to have Tyrant gloves be 400 coins when invasion starts at sleep time. Yes, so the way that invasion, the whole system works in KMS is you have the invasions, and then you also have Hackathon, which gives out a decent amount. And Hackathon is a boss that cannot exist in GMS. They tried to implement it, it basically broke the game, it can't happen. So that's a source of stones that we don't have. Then when we fused the EMS and GMS, what they did is they changed the time zone in the game. I still to this day have no idea why, because I see nothing but negative. Even though I am in EU, I don't see anything but negative. This means that the invasions start at a very unhappy time in NA, and basically people who actually have a life can only attend 1 or maybe 2 invasions a day, which is stupid because it basically takes Tyrant gloves completely out of the market. Now you could say to a certain degree, you could say like, well, I just can't get them, so I won't bother with them. Sure, but you're gonna always have people who are trying to min max, and to put this behind like a time wall that's really doesn't have any apparent reason is really weird. Why they haven't changed invasions to just be every 2 hours around the clock is beyond me. It seems like a pretty easy thing to fix. Overall, I guess people who are hardcore are going to get their gloves a little bit faster, but not that much faster because you still have the wall of anti-magic. So people are still going to have to put a shitload of time into it. So I don't really see why they didn't do it. I mean, you could even say every 24 hours and just put a max of 12 invasions per day per character or something like, or like a max of 8 invasions or 10 invasions, what you want per character or per account, whatever. Like you could, I feel like that's probably pretty easy to do, but apparently it's not, or they just don't want to, or there's other things that they're focusing on more. But yeah, that is definitely an issue. The new time zone is such bullshit. I mean, I am from EU and I think it makes no sense. Like it favors me to a large degree, but I don't think it makes any sense because the overwhelming player base is in NA. So the server time is in NA, like where the actual servers are. The maintenances are in NA time. Some of the events start at NA time despite the actual game server or the in-game clock being in EU time. Like it makes no sense. You just put it all at the same time. Yeah, Ursus is at 3 p.m. Like it's so fucking weird, dude. Just put everything in NA time. Like we're already in EU playing on a NA server, so what